see people go down pretty easily if they're not hydrated appropriately. This is not the time when we're now treating our athletes like that movie. I can't remember the Titans when water was withheld. So,
sickle cell trait is when a person has an abnormal allele of the hemoglobin beta gene. It is not the same as sickle cell disease. Athletes will suffer from sickle cell trait attacks by doing wind sprint, extreme workouts, and weightlifting. Ways to prevent sickle cell trait attacks are communicate, hydrate, pay attention, and educate.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Thank you, Dr. Horton. That was a fantastic presentation. Helpful for us to be thinking through how we've gotten to where we are and what's going on outside North Carolina has an impact on us as well. I was asked to discuss and share with you on behalf of the medical committee of the council, North Carolina Council of Sickle Cell Disease and related disorders.
And again, the evidence is always a little bit lacking to how definitive we want to be about it, but it's still out there. I'm going to go over some studies, and really just very briefly and not in a lot of detail, but to primarily show you that there's a lot of back and forth about whether or not sickle trait might be associated with different things. And then talk briefly about what future directions we can go in, and mostly what we're doing at UNC, both in our hematology division, as well as what myself and my collaborators in the division of nephrology are doing.
I was exposed to sickle cell as a college student. Didn't know much about it, but I had a girlfriend who had sickle cell. And it seemed as though every time she was stressed, we were paying her family support and rode her to the hospital in the ambulance or whatever needed to happen. And so anytime we had a major event going on, we would always say, oh boy, we've got this event coming on. We hope she doesn't get stressed out. And she always did.
I want to thank you for that. I come to bring you the welcome on behalf of the organization, on behalf of the North Carolina Governor's Council on Sickle Cell Syndrome and related blood diseases. This is one of the most important agencies that we form, if it's not the important. It's one of the most important because it's directly dealing and speaking to the health of a large portion of the population that we have here in North Carolina.
But was it really a motivating event to get me into research, to clinical medicine, to health administration, and later into public health? Which really in many ways coming here and talking to you today about the circle. And by my understanding of the history that we have today, I better understand the progress, absolutely understand the progress that we've made. And this progress brings me hope for today, that the research and discovery cures all of it. Thank you very much.
Adults. The pediatric system of care is essentially flawless. It is an excellent system. When they start transitioning to adult care, they're in the hospital. They do not have a medical home. They do not have, and I'm speaking generally speaking. But do keep in mind that this is a global issue. If we can solve HIV globally, you tell me that we can't do something about sickle cell disease globally.